Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening, mate. How are you doing? Sorry, just checking the press.
I know. It's like, are there any last minute announcements? Good evening, everyone joining us. Um, Same old Everton,
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Richo, Amanda, evening. Hello, everyone. Um, well, do you think we'll get beat tomorrow? Um, I think that's going to be the theme of
Yeah,
of
let's
the.
let's 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 not start on such a negative note. Let's start in a slightly more positive vein, hopefully.
I've got to apologise. It's ridiculously stuffy. There's been some decorating going on. The dog might bark in the background. You might hear traffic going by because, of course, I'm here in Goodison. Um, um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's been. I don't know. Ryan did a video earlier on Mopay. We had quite a few viewers, and well, first and foremost, he's been training at Finch Farm. But will he be available for selection? We don't know whether it was through at 12 o'clock. What are your thoughts on that?
I've not heard anything official. Um, However, the normal way this goes is you put a deal sheet in.
Yeah,
Once it's kind of like come to a point where the deal's looking like being done, you can put a deal sheet in before the cutoff, before the 12 o'clock deadline,
yeah,
and that means that then you can like do the rest of the business during the course of the day. But he would still be registered before 12. But I haven't heard an official announcement of whether he's available. However, if he was in training today, which is what I've seen, that would assume that he would probably be part of the setup and ready to go. So not 100%. I'm not guaranteeing nothing, but I think he's probably going to be in the squad for the game tomorrow.
is it safe
Hopefully,
to say that he's match fit?
yes, yes,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it'll be
He's
that.
he's not been he's not been starting games this season for Brighton. Um, um, but then that's only because um, he refused the contract.
Oh,
So there's a lot of people who've been saying, um, why are we signing cast-offs players that they don't want? So just to put that to bed for anyone who's watching and anyone at home who's paying attention, they did want to keep him. They offered him a new contract. He
he was
turned the
joking.
contract down, and he's wanted to leave. So that's the reason why. All right, Nick.
Maka reckons
So
he'll score a hat trick.
um,
I mean, I'll take it.
that would be a
We'll
debut
get.
and a half, and I would take that all day. Not a problem. But I think he's more likely to be on the bench and maybe come on later in the game. I don't know when.
What for Rondon?
You would expect Rondon to start, unfortunately. So you know, once he runs out of gas after about 15, 20 minutes, um, then we'll be looking to the bench for someone, won't we? Because
I will have to say though, I've got to say this. By all means, send your comments in here if you guys watched the Fleetwood game. Admittedly, Fleetwood 2 divisions lower than us, but with Rondon didn't seem like he seemed like he could play the full 90 minutes. And if you're pressuring and running and doing stuff off the ball, it's still going to take that kind of out of you, regardless of the quality of the opposition. You'd even argue and say that if the opposition are miles better, you're going to be pressed back, so running less, even though. As Frank Lampard pointed out in his transfer thing today, the statistic was it Frank Lampard talking about the kilometres run, but that tends to be you run when you're chasing the ball. And he
yes,
makes a good point.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's what we're discussing, Amanda. Amanda's just gone. Evening, Everton. Everything, Everton. Amanda's just said Mopay or Rondon tomorrow. Um,
You would
good
have
Jewish
to
boys.
assume it. You would have to assume. Well, no, you wouldn't have to assume. It's a natural assumption to make that Rondon would start because he's
He's
been
in with the
here
tactics.
already,
Yeah,
etc., etc. And we don't know for 100% certain whether Mopay made the deadline to be eligible. We assume he is, but we don't know it for 100% until it's officially confirmed. So we're going on a basis of we hope he's in the squad, in which case put him on the bench and see how it goes, kind of thing. Just putting him in from the start would be a little bit much, I think. And
it's almost like setting someone up to fail a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it's different once you've gone in. I mean, I will just play this. Good Jewish boy has just asked us to bring attention to this. It wouldn't be fair not to just ignore him. Good evening, guys. Evening. I feel Mopay is a little bit small and lightweight for us. Can he play on the wing?
Yes, he can. Yes.
Well, there you go then. Jeff, the authority on all things Everton.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I think ideally, once DCL's fit, Mopay would be the role that we envisaged for Dele Alli when we first signed him, where it was going to be DCL and Dele Alli in behind. That's kind of the role that Mopay suits. He's a little ferret that runs about and gets in people's faces and closes people down and does a little, a lot of the work off the ball, which allows the striker to stay fixed in position. So, but obviously, until we've got the relevant striker, he's probably. I don't know whether he's taller than Damari Gray. He's only about 5'7".
Yeah, he's
5'8", is it?
I mean, how tall were you there for Dan's quiz a while back, where he was quizzing us on all the all the players and the goals and the appearances?
I won. Well, I kind of won.
I was setting you up for that, yeah.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah. By the way, anyone watching who's not, if you're on Twitter, join in sometimes. Like Dan Spaces, he does these hilarious quizzes where they're a good laugh, right? And the questions aren't the most taxing because it's kind of more of a guessing game. And if you can remember, you can remember. Like my dad would be good at them because my dad's got like this almost autistic sort of knowledge of all things Everton. And I mean, he can list all the scorers from, the results from every FA Cup from about 1960 forwards. It's madness.
It's weird how people are like that sometimes, isn't it? But like they can't remember like your birthday or where their house is, but like they'll remember stuff like that. Like, what was your anniversary? What's an anniversary? Don't know. But I do know who scored in the 28th minute of the game on like the 7th of July or whatever. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going back to
get your dad on now.
Yeah, get him on. Well, actually, he's doing a presentation on a club. He plays a card game in his spare time. He's not available. Some things are. But yeah, someone's saying Mopay won't score enough goals. Super soft.
Yeah,
now,
I wanted to bring this on because I've got an opinion on this. But if you want to jump in first.
Okay, I'll caveat that with something that Frank Lampard brought up, and it's a thing that we've touched on in the past, is it worth, with just for everyone who might not know as well, DCL is a little bit ahead of schedule, but they don't want to push him and potentially risk, jeopardize his recovery. And so what that then means is that we don't want to necessarily spend money pointlessly, put us in jeopardy of falling foul of financial fair play, and then have a lot of strikers that are first team quality but might not get the time that they deserve. So who knows? I mean, sorry, you were going to say then about that opinion about
no. The thing is that I've heard this stuff and it's like he's not going to score enough goals. He's not. You are absolutely correct. He is not going to score enough goals to be considered our main striker. But our main striker last year scored 10 goals, and 4 of those were penalties. That was our best striker last year, scored 10. The next guy behind him scored either 5 or 6. I think that was Damari Gray and who's the guy who got injured? Andros Townsend. So
you're bringing back traumatic memories here.
Right, but the point is that we aren't a high scoring team, and there's no getting around that fact. And we're not going to be bringing in some strikers who are going to be a 20 goal a season striker. It's just not going to happen.
So what?
So the way we're
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say. So the way this is going to work is you're going to have 4 or 5 players, maybe 6 players, 7 players, even if it works out nice, who can all chip in with 6, 7, 8, 9 goals. And when you add them all up together, that's the goals that you need, if you know what I mean. So it's, hopefully DCL will be fit. Maybe he'll get 13 to 15, something like that. If he, plays regular, then you'll get Mopay, you'll get maybe 7. Damari Gray will get 7 or 8. Maybe McNeil will pop in with a few. Fullbacks might pop in with 1 or 2 here and there. You're going to get some headers from set pieces, from corners and things. You might get a couple of goals from midfield. So it's more about a kind of an overall. It's an overall plan rather than. In the past, we've relied on individuals, either Richarlison or DCL, and if they didn't score, nobody scored, and that was it. We weren't getting a result. So having players who can nip in with the odd goal here and there throughout the season takes some of the pressure off whoever is our number 9, DCL in this case. And so, we're looking for more of a. It doesn't matter who scores the goal, so long as somebody scores the goal. And each of those players that we've got are capable of scoring, 1 in 3, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, and it all adds up. And that's the way I think we're going to be looking at it.
And pragmatically as well, if we're more solid at the back and we're not hemorrhaging goals, I mean, technically you could get maximum points, 140 or whatever it is, by only scoring 38 goals. If you just every game's 1-0.
Technically, I mean, that's the thing is, that's exactly correct. Is even though it's been a pain waiting for the business to get done, and we haven't finished our business, and that's annoying. We're looking at the season, and we've gone and looked. Frank and Tal obviously looked and thought we need to shut the back door. First order of business, we need to shut the back door. So we brought in 2 centre-backs with a wealth of experience, big units, good players, technically good on the football as well.
Yeah.
Vocal
Can I just
captains.
Jump in a sec?
Go on, yeah.
Can I jump in? Yeah. By the way, Richo's pointed out good news with DCL in full training next week. I just sort of mentioned that as to what he's saying, not to push DCL. So, that could be something that we've got to be mindful of, that we don't want to needlessly spend money. Richo's also said Everton apparently have resumed talks with PSG for Gana because
I was going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah, but in that context as well. Evening, Charles. Evening, everyone. It's just
good evening, Charles. How are you doing, buddy?
Andre Gomez are back in full training. Calvert-Lewin next week. Gabamin's gone to Trabzonspor, along with Dele Alli going to Besiktas. The club are looking to bring into 3 more players. Idrissa Gueye. Now, that's all in that sort of oeuvre of what we're talking about. You don't want to pointlessly go out and splash the cash on players that we don't need, that aren't going to improve the squad, especially, as we've been saying, that aren't, we're going to pointlessly spend money on a striker just because it's a panic buy. So if we're going to look to gradually improve the squad, you need to look at the squad that we've actually got now. And that was some of the problem that we'd had in the past, 5 or 6 years, is that you had managers or individuals who'd go out and go, I want this player as a marquee signing or a vanity project. And to be honest, we didn't end up.
It hasn't worked.
No, I've got to say, on that note, we are. If you give us a thumbs up if you're ready, because we've got somebody waiting in the wings to bring the positivity.
Yes!
Dan!
How
Not the
we doing?
man. He's here. Hello, my buddy.
Can you hear me
Just
all
gotta
right?
say, before
Yeah.
you jump in there, everyone's obviously been waiting with bated breath to see you, Dan. But thanks for joining us, everyone. Numbers still creeping up.
Now, I'd just like to point out, before he starts speaking,
Yeah.
that I'm feeling aggrieved. I have to lodge a formal complaint. I've got to lodge a formal complaint.
Is this about the quiz?
No. I was bugged to get earphones like these by the channel. Oh, you've got to get some proper earphones with the microphone like these. And I'm the only one who wears them. Because he's got some in these. You've got a
them here
special
as
setup.
well.
So I'm the only mug with these daft earphones now. And
I've got them.
I've heard they're in
furious.
the room. I've heard it's in the process of being distributed. You might be interested to know that I'm working with a fuzzy directional mic. This is specifically.
This is outrageous. I'm lodging a formal complaint.
Well, I'm just trying these ones now, and I don't know what they sound like. Do they sound good or not? Do they sound okay, clear?
Yeah, they're fine, yeah.
Can I have a large chips, please, Mr. Daniel?
Thumbs up from anyone who's listening if he sounds okay.
Yeah.
Thumbs up from me. I don't know whether I sound okay, but they're just not over me head, so I can show you my nice hair.
Apparently, though, Dan and Yanndalf are breaking channel policy here. I'm not sure what the policy is.
Ryan's like the strict head teacher, isn't he?
I think
Yeah.
you've got to remember, guys, that in contract law, if there's any ambiguity, whether it's verbal or written, it always favours the non-drafting party.
Yeah, so I'm doing the right thing.
These ones that I've got are pretty cool, though. If they do sound clear, they're bang on because it's not headphones; it's just in your ear.
Nice one. Cheers for the defence, Ryan.
We'll see.
I can do a Clive Tilsley here, and it's coming in nice and loud and clear.
I do like them. These was only like £4, so bargain if they do work good.
Nice.
And I don't know if you've noticed. Look at this.
I have noticed. I
With
saw the
the
unboxing
lighting.
video yesterday as well, which was brilliant.
I haven't took it
Is that
off.
like a fourth kit? Like, what is that one, Dan?
I have worked 2 days in a
Training
row,
kit.
and my daughter's got the pink one. And I tell you something, this I love it with the pink.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I really do.
Nice, isn't it?
The pink as well for kids. The pink tops. That pink kit for kids is absolutely unreal. I took my daughter down today.
Really good.
And yay, sounds good. Well, these headphones was £4 from Poundland, so there is bargains out there.
Now I'm feeling even more aggrieved. I'm gonna go and sulk after this.
£4 from Poundland. Get on them. Not bad, because I know a lot of you go on Spaces as well. So I think just these for £4 to go on your Spaces are absolutely bang on.
Excellent.
Good Jewish boys to ask, where are they from, Dan? I love a deal.
Poundland.
£4 from Poundland.
Yeah,
Nice.
because Poundland do the. Do you know where you go into Poundland and you get all your chargers and stuff like that for £1.50 or something like that? You've got your bargain section and you have electricals. Everyone goes Poundland for the electrical stuff, don't they? Those cheap chargers. And the headphones was there, £4.
Now, I'm sorry to interject here, guys. We are.
I do sound the clearest. Thanks very much. That's
We're going to
good.
get
So
Martin
at least my
Lewis on
money
next
wasn't
time.
completely
I
wasted.
love this kit. I love this
back
kit.
to the football.
I do love
I'm
this
really
kit.
sorry, God forbid Everton fans on an Everton football channel, I know it's a nightmare scenario where we actually talk about football. But yeah, so in the context of Mopay signing, there's rumours which have been doing the rounds of Mopay. Somebody did just ask before, I haven't forgotten you, what's the deal on Kudus? Kudus, I believe there's 5 clubs in for him now. Things are in the works, apparently. Some of it might be slowed down, potentially with not knowing what the wage situation is with Dele Alli going out and Usyk going to Trabzonspor. So yeah, I think it's. Who did I just say? Usyk? Gabamin, that's the one. I mean, I'm sorry, he's played a grand total of about 0.3 matches. So, yeah.
And by the way, Mr. Jewish Boy, when you say my camera's not the clearest, that would be because a certain person has continually, over and over, forgotten to send me the required dongle. Because you see, I've got the camera here. See, I've got the camera, But I can't plug it into my laptop without the thing that he's supposed to have sent me about 2 weeks ago.
I have
I
gone
keep
to the
forgetting.
shop. They've sold out because I bought the last one, and I went in, and you know what? You know what? Oh, do you want to take this outside, Jeff? Come on,
my picture is clear. I'm loving it. I look fresh. My headphones are new. I'm all ready. I feel like I'm ready to go out.
You should take over the show then, mate.
Well, normally I always get things wrong. But...
I love this chippy start to the show. It's fun. I like a little bit of controversy.
Do you know what though, Jeff? You've already spoke to me today. I am not negative at all. So
no, you're not. You're right.
If you're gonna if you want negativity out of me, you ain't gonna get it today because I'm Mr. Positive, damn big time.
No, we were both positive on that space before,
and you,
and so you're gonna get positive from me as well. As much as possible.
I just said basically like I've just gone to town. For us. Yeah. Robbie Savage was actually good at free kicks, and I'm good at free kicks as well. He was class at free kicks.
Pick yourself up, Robbie. Come on.
You know what I mean?
And Robbie Savage was an Everton fan, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, but so was Joey Barton.
Robbie Savage ain't got these guns.
Or maybe I'm getting confused with Joey Barton. Maybe he wasn't an Everton fan.
I've just been likened to Keith Lemon. It's that's.
Don't start comparing me to anything.
Field as well.
I'm going to get compared to what I actually am, which is a scruffy truck driver. That's what I look like because that's what I am.
I'm going to take Robbie Savage to be fair because it could be worse, couldn't it?
Yeah, cool.
I know people don't like him, but he's not the worst looking. So, Dan, can I have a boneless bucket?
Right, again, I've got to get
Let's get back onto the football.
We talk about it, and then it gets the comments in. It's lovely for you guys to feel part of it. Like, that's what
call centre chatter.
Yeah,
I always get ripped, don't I? I always get ripped, but I take
it. Yes, to be fair, apparently, Jeff, you look like you could be a ref. Jeff the ref.
Fair enough. I'll take that.
Right. So, to drag it reluctantly back to the football.
It's either that or that. I think it's better like that. But we will drag it back to the football. Right. I'm going to start here. Right. Listen to this. I went to town and I started thinking about Mopay. I started off negative, thinking, I don't know what I think. I tweeted it earlier on. I think I'm really snobby. I want a striker that's not even possible. And I want something that's incredible. And then we got Mopay, and I don't know why it just didn't hit me as that incredible. And then I started to think about it. I thought about how he plays because I've watched him a lot. He puts graft in. He chases everything down. He puts players under pressure. He's basically like Naismith, like a proper work for 90 minutes. He reminds me of Naismith so much. And we all moaned about Naismith. We all thought, Naismith's not that exciting, but he goes and scores goals and goals and goals. And what do we need right now? Goals. And now I'm starting to actually get really excited. And I can't wait to see Mopay play for Everton. I really, really can't wait for him. And I think just everybody get behind him big time because if he does score, he is the sort of striker that can get some form. And if he gets goal-scoring form, it'll be good.
On that note, Phil's brought an interesting point. Keep the comments coming in, guys. I'm just going to try and fit it in with what we discussed when it's appropriate. Phil said wondering what Mopay and DCL would be like on the same pitch at the same time. It's an interesting thing because it gives us the option to have... Go for it.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say... I was just...
Different
No. I was just thinking that basically when we signed Dele Alli, the idea, I think, realistically, was to play him behind DCL and him being the one getting in and about and whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that Mopay could actually be a perfect foil for someone like DCL. Because he could be the one who's running and scooting about and causing problems, getting in people's faces, and probably creating space that then DCL can use if he's closing down and then putting the ball out and someone whips the ball back in. And DCL's suddenly in a space that Mopay's created with his pressure and with his pressing. I think that could work quite well, to be honest.
I think you're bang
Jack,
on. Bang on.
can
I
I
was
just-
just going to say on that though, just going with that little plot, so we can keep it on the same subject. I actually see. Do you know where Calvert-Lewin can flick it on? Maupay
Yeah.
will make the run for the flick-ons. When he brings it down in the box, Calvert-Lewin, he'll be next to him in the box. This is exciting because if you're looking to what players go with what players, if I was going to put a player with Calvert-Lewin, this is a good player to put with him. So it really does excite me because we all know Richarlison, we wanted him closer to Calvert-Lewin. Richarlison didn't get as close to him as I like. I think Mopay will. I really do. And I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've just got to say, Amanda's just asked any other signings do you think will come in? I've just got to go through these. And I'll sort of put that in a context.
Gana will be here by probably like Monday or Tuesday.
I've got to go and pick him up.
In my opinion.
I've got to go and pick him up, Jeff.
I've got to say, in that context, because Matty's made a good point, with Ali and Gabaman out on loan, Alan and Gomez potentially going, do you see Warrington getting more game time? Now, that's a really interesting point that ties in. Well, it's an interesting conversation point for me, because we're talking about, people are asking questions about Diaz. What are your thoughts on Diaz? Everton, Eugene said, welcome, Eugene, to restart the Gay negotiations, which I think Charles Stevenson was... said before, Phil would happily take Diaz and Gana. Now, what I think needs to, we need to take Frank Lampard at his word in the press conference earlier, where he was talking about Warrington knocking on the door. And obviously, we've sent like Ellis Sims out on loan, and he's demonstrated that he can score goals. So maybe there's long-term plans here, which we've kind of forgotten because they've just been.
Warrington will go out on loan. Yeah,
we've forgotten these. We've neglected them. For so long, like youngsters, they weren't given a chance, and to have, historically we used to have players that we'd have 2 or 3 homegrown players in the team, and or to a certain extent ones that would be journeymen for the club, and we haven't had that for quite a long time, and we had a lot of youth and backroom staff gone, and there was almost a complete disintegration of the fabric of the cohesiveness of the club. So of course, if you put that in the context of needing to go out and improve the squad based on what we've got, and also who's going out, because wage bills and players that can't necessarily cut the mustard, or even if they're potentially at the same standard of players we're bringing in, if they're not actually playing to their ability, get rid. I don't want to speak ill of any players, but it's a reality that the club, the shirt, team.
I think we're in. We are rebuilding the club from the foundation up. Yeah. And it's a bit like trying to change the wheels on a car while you're driving on the motorway. It's really difficult because, you can't stop the car to change a wheel while you're driving.
That was too good for you, Jeff.
Nice. Well, thanks, my mate.
Yeah. Well played.
But yeah, what I'm kind of seeing is some joined up thinking. So let's say, for an example, and we'll use Lewis Warrington as an example. You're going to bring Gana guy in for 2 years, and you're going to send out Lewis Warrington for probably 1, maybe 2 loans back to back at progressively better clubs. Maybe to take over from Gana when he retires. You're looking at players like who's the guy who's gone out to
Dobbin and
Dobbin, yeah.
Dobbin.
You look at the lad who's gone out to Holland, Brentford. So these are the players that you're thinking they're going to go out and get first team experience, and they're going to come back and they're going to be ready to take a place in the squad, or they're going to show that they're not quite at that level, but they're going to show enough to create value so that, let's say, for example, Ellis Sims, is he Premier League level? I don't know. That's a debate. Some people think he is, some people think he isn't. But if he goes out on loan and he scores 10 or 15 goals and we don't think he's Premier League level, we should at least be able to get some money for him. And that's a plan. That's like a coherent plan. We're going to produce players, sell on the ones that aren't good enough, bring the ones who are good enough into the team, but bring them into the team when they're ready to come into the team, instead of having to put somebody like Anthony Gordon into the side when he's clearly not ready and he's out of his depth and he's doing his best and he's running around and he's working his butt off, but he hasn't got an end product yet. And that holds against him. And if we'd have been in a better position, Anthony Gordon would have been an amazing player off the bench last season in a functional side. Just coming on.
But what bites us in the arse, Jeff, is we've had that with, John Joe Kenny might have been put in that situation similarly, but we've had loads of players where we've shipped them out and they elude me. Ordinarily, I could talk about this all day, where they go off to clubs and they sort of flourish at places like Sunderland or, and well, I'm not on about Rodwell there, but we've had youngsters where they've not been allowed to develop, and it almost bites us in the arse where they've come so far with us. We ship them out because they don't necessarily have it, and it's been, we've seen that happen as a consequence of the last sort of 6-7 years of Everton being on a undeniable decline.
Can I just jump on a few comments here that I've read?
Yeah, there's been a lot of comments.
Just quick pointers here. First of all, I was thinking the same thing. There's loads of comments about Diaz, and I was thinking, if we've got Calvert-Lewin, do we need Diaz? I think if we bring Diaz in, we're going to be able to manage Calvert-Lewin a lot better. So if Calvert-Lewin plays 60 minutes, Diaz can come on for the next 30. Also, if Calvert-Lewin's saying my muscles are tight for a game, Diaz can play instead of him. So then you're looking after Calvert-Lewin and getting the best out of Calvert-Lewin and giving Diaz plenty of game time. You've got to think tactical like this. So that's how I see that. And I think that would be cracking for Calvert-Lewin. It'd make Calvert-Lewin a better player because we do get him injured quite a lot. So it'd be a good thing to do. Second thing on a comment I've just seen is someone said something about, I'll make this quick. Someone said something about Gana for Man United. Gana is class. He played for Nottingham Forest. And he was immense. He played against Arsenal for Nottingham Forest, and he was the player that made Arsenal get knocked out. Garner takes free kicks. He scores goals. He plays in that number 6 position, makes tackles. And he's played England under 21. So he is if his value is 12 to 14 million, then you sign him now, I can guarantee Garner from Man United will be worth about 30, 40 million in 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think he'd be a really smart buy.
Yes, 100%, Jeff. Yeah. And to what someone said, we've already got Warrington. Warrington's cost us bugger all. Garner is a good investment because you can't put all your eggs into one basket. You can say to yourself then, Warrington and Garner, do what you've got to do and see what happens. But yeah, I would definitely get on Garner for that money. I'm glad you agree with me, Jeff, because he's cracking.
Yeah, I think he'd be a smart buy, and I think it's one of those where we're waiting for certain decisions to be made, and I think that whether those Gordon, let's be honest, we're talking about Gordon, they want him, he's interested. If they come up with the money that we are willing to accept, then what did I miss?
Someone said, what's happening? I agreed with Dan twice in 1 minute. I know. It's one of them days. It's one of them days.
But yeah, I think we're waiting on this Gordon situation because I think a lot of our decisions are kind of like an either-or type situation. So for an example, if we were to bring in, let's say Chelsea said, we'll give you this amount of money and we'll give you Brozier on loan. That would mean that we wouldn't get the Diaz move. If, say, for example, they said, well, we want to keep Brozier, but we'll loan you, who's the other lad with the long... Gallagher. Right?
Oh, sorry.
We'll give you Gallagher on loan for the year. Then that might preclude us getting the Gana deal over the line.
Yeah.
If we, for an example... don't actually sell Gordon at all, then that means, let's say, for an example, the Raul, is his name Raul from
Pedro?
Pedro, sorry, that's him. Yeah, Pedro from
yeah,
Pedro, that's it. I don't know why I was saying Raul. Yeah, Pedro from he's someone on the list, and it's like, if we were to lose Gordon, he'd be an ideal replacement because he plays in that left-hand side kind of position. He's a very similar player and he's a big prospect. So I think like we're trying to do certain deals that are necessary if we don't sell Gordon, and then we're lining up deals that we can make if we do sell Gordon. And I think that like we're gonna have to wait. Yeah.
There's loads of options, isn't there, Jeff? Like you say,
Yeah.
different things can affect different deals. Like you're saying, if you don't get Gallagher, you can go for Gana. If you get Gallagher, you probably wouldn't go for Gana. Same with the wingers you talked to. You make cracking points there. And people in the comments, I keep reading your comments. We're all reading them. Some cracking comments. People love Diaz and they want to see Diaz and Calvert-Lewin.
Diaz can play as left wing as well as up front if DCL and Mopay are in the team. Kevin said love for Diaz. He said it before. He said that DCL, Mopay and Diaz would be some striking team. Amanda said it'd be competition for DCL as well. Although somebody did say before that DCL, Phil, he's made out of biscuits. Again, some of this.
But again, that's why, like Brozier, if Brozier was the option that we got on loan instead of Gallagher, then he would be the backup, and then you've got 3 still strikers, haven't you? Because you'd have DCL, Brozier, or Diaz, and then also Mopay. And
Phil's talked about we have to sell Gordon to balance the books. I don't think we do. I mean,
that's not
Lampard
true.
was very tight-lipped in the press conference. Obviously, he's not going to be there talking openly about finances, which isn't within his remit anyway. You're very right in what you're saying, and just to sort of cap it all off in that context, what we do now, I think. How we're moving forward, because there's still what 4 or 5 days left in the transfer window. Obviously it's not ideal that we're doing it, but what we're doing is dependent on. I really think it's dependent on whether whether the Kudus thing is complete, whether we get Gana Gay in, as you say. So potentially it's all a case of if we've got Gana Gay in, if we've got Gana Gay. Then maybe Onana, is moved forward, or maybe, maybe Gana Gay having that solid role will. Although against Fleetwood, everything went through Iwobi, and I think he's really stepped up and taken that place in centre midfield, which is not his natural position. That might give him the freedom to play in his more natural position on the wing. You don't know, so it all depends. It's but I don't know. It's.
Going back to what we were talking about with the youth players, I understand your point, Kelly. That's Sorry, we're all just taking turns scrolling through the comments and just picking bits out. But so I think again we're still in the situation where
we have 5 of our.
We're still in a watching brief, aren't we?
Yeah, we have 5.
Go on, go for it.
5 of our top 8 or 9 wage earners, go out this window either on loan or so it's all looking like positive steps to restructure, because I think when players come in and they completely undermined the nature of that power structure at a club or the dynamic that exists financially and within within the mindsets of players. If somebody comes in, Phil said Iwobi can play in any position at the moment. Pickford's nervous. I agree. I think you guys will know that even last season, I said from the off, I've defended Iwobi, and I thought I'm not going to get into how he was treated social media and that lad has something to him, and he,
It's just 2 key things, and he needs to make sure he keeps it. First of all, it's determination and work rate, and second of all, it's his confidence. Confidence is a massive thing with Iwobi. It's clear. He's on. It's like any footballer. When a player scores a goal, he can go on to score a hat trick because he becomes confident, and you get that sky high feeling. Iwobi's on cloud 9 now.
I think he's just. Oh God, sorry.
I was just basically saying he's adding so much to his game, and there's been nothing better for me. because I wasn't a fan of Iwobi, and I love a player to prove me wrong. There's been nothing better for me watching him grow and prove me wrong. Yeah, but he wasn't. The thing is, you can say what you want. He wasn't doing it for 2-3 years with us, was he? He wasn't this player. This is new. This is new, Jan. You believed he could be that Jan, but he wasn't that player. He's all of a sudden found something to make him this player, and now he is this player. I'm buzzing.
I think he's finally realised that all the faffing about doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because if you just put a shift in, and do the basics of football, which is like, do you tracking back, do you chasing, do you marking, do you do all of the basic things, put the tackles in, put the work in, and then if you get the odd goal and you do the odd thing as well on top, that's brilliant. But I think like the penny finally dropped on him was that he finally realised. I don't know whether it was one particular round of applause where he put in a tackle and I think he booted someone into the stands and the whole ground went up for him. And I think it was kind of a little moment in his head where it was like, oh,
bring it on.
That's what they want. They've been giving me shit for years. And all I had to do was drop kick some idiot into the stands. And they'd love me. And it's like, from that moment on, it's like the penny seems to have dropped with him, and so he's the hardest working player at the club at the moment. Like
it's graft. It is graft.
Yeah, it's graft.
I've got to jump in, guys. I've got to jump in. Right, some people have been asking Amanda Ash before. Are we going to talk tactics about Brentford? Tomorrow. Yeah. But I think
we are supposed to be talking about the match today.
We will. It's been nearly 45 minutes. Like, thank you again.
God, sorry.
Like and share and subscribe. And thanks for joining us. We are going to get to that, but I think it was important to put that context of, who's going to play, who's going to be here, because certainly factoring in what you've said and about Mopay, I've had to consider that in my sort of team selection as well. But
great segue.
Yeah. But I do have to say, obviously, there's still rumours. We can go, by all means, let's go back to it afterwards because there's still rumours of Ben Brereton, Diaz, Elanga from United, which I think would be
it's unlikely.
Unlikely, but if it were, it shows. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's up there. So
this is why it's lasted 43 minutes because there's that much stuff to talk about on transfers.
There is a lot to talk about.
And also, there's been more rumours on guys. How serious do you think Keane to Forest are? Would you say?
Yeah, there you go. Another one sparked another one up.
Okay, I'm going to answer this one quickly and put it all to bed. He's not going to go anywhere.
Julian's not going to go anywhere. General chat, but when does the Brentford preview start?
Right. Yeah, I do apologise, but I don't think he's going anywhere. He might have done if Mina and Godfrey weren't injured, but we can't afford to let him go.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we'll try and keep this for an hour because I know we can be too long and your time is precious.
What I will do is if I'll start this. I'll sort of caveat it or preface it with a little bit of recap of last season. Not that we need reminders. We were absolutely awful against Brentford twice last season. We lost 1-0 at home to let's just call it a penalty for what it was. Ivan Toney put that away, who's a decent player. And Brentford at home was awful. We had a moment of madness where the referee decided to send Branthwaite off and have that hypocrisy. We could wax lyrical, we could cover it, we could pull our hair out all day. But we lost 3-2 after going 2-1 up. Could have been 2-0. Coleman had an own goal, which I don't necessarily blame him for. It was disgusting. It was messy. They were a very good team. Ericsson dominated everything. But we did beat them. We spanked them in the FA Cup 4-1? I can't remember. I'm just going off memory.
I was just going to say that. And Andre Gomez was the probably the man of the match. One of the best games I've seen him play. I pinged it about all the time, and he was class that game. So you'll remember in the comments, I'm sure, Andre Gomez was smashed at that game and then didn't do anything the game after. But that was that game.
Yeah.
What do you like? Let's let's keep it brief because obviously we want to keep them interested. What do you think the score's going to be?
Can we do scores? Sorry, as a host,
I think
kind of
scores
have
at the end. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the score prediction at the end.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Daniel.
I think we've got to kind of actually talk about the game and how we think we're going to play first before we actually throw the predictions in, I reckon.
So I'll kind of say, you know, by all means, I'll throw this to you guys in a minute. I've got to say that Brentford, Lampard did talk in his press conference earlier that quite rightly he sort of he put shop to that idea of the second season curse. It's nonsense. I think it's fantastic how Brentford have this style of play. They've pushed on, and Thomas Frank is doing an amazing job of getting the best out of his players. But I've got to say that, you know, obviously they spanked United. They have to change their style of play. And I can't say I haven't watched Brentford, much to my shame, since last season. But since they lost Ericsson, you know, they brought in a couple of players, but it's not been, you know, a massive overhaul for them. But having said that, They finished, what was it, 11? Where did they finish last season?
They had a nice little run towards the end, and I think they ended up finishing, I think, about 11th. I think they did somewhere around about there, I think. But yeah, it's one of those where.
I'm sorry, gentlemen.
Oh,
By the way, the only reason I said straight to scores is because if my battery dies.
Oh, sorry, my mate.
Yeah.
Well, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the private chat, and if we lose you, then I can do it on your behalf in a little bit.
Yeah, that's the only reason I said it. It sounded like I was trying to end it before it started, but generally, I know my battery's on like 4%. That was the reason.
Got you.
But now I've told you, so if I go, you know why.
Fair enough. So yeah, I mean the match tomorrow. Realistically, our best bet is to keep it tight, isn't it? We're not going to be playing all out attacking football. So it's going to be a difficult game. They're pretty good in possession, and they're quite quick. They're quite a quick team as well. But at the same time, I don't think they're an amazing side. I think it's one of those where if you let them play, they can be really, really good. But if you shut them down, you can shut them down really effectively because they'll run out of ideas if you close them down properly. So I think the most important thing is not let them get momentum.
We're just getting ripped in these comments, you know.
Oh yeah, are we?
We're just getting ripped. And lucky I could take her with it. You know what I mean? Some of them's funny.
Yeah,
I love it.
Honestly, I love you guys. Half of the fun of this is obviously talking to Jeff and Dan, but half of it is you guys that join us. We really do appreciate it. I've got to say, like, subscribe, share, love, tell them and all that kind of nonsense.
Subscribe, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
I'm the banter king anyway, so I like the banter on the comments and stuff. It makes the show a bit more fun, doesn't it?
I mean, I've got to say that Brentford clearly did a job against United. Clearly, were comprehensive. They sort of scored goals in quick succession before it was half time. It's
was Brentford good or was Man U shit that game?
Bit of both.
But, yeah, I was just gonna say
it's a good point, though, isn't it? It is a good point. I've just seen someone say Tony is really dangerous. So is Tarkowski.
Yeah, everything everyone said. Ivan Toney's dangerous. Someone said before he'd walk into our squad. He's their best player. Absolutely. Peter, thanks for joining us as well. What discussion have you missed? We spent 45 minutes talking about transfers and what's been going on. But yeah, Kevin agrees with you. It's both. We've been Brentford were good. Man United were cack.
I'm not scared of Brentford though. I generally am ready for this. Do you know why? Because I generally think we are suited to play Brentford. I think that they've got good Tony and the other lad that they've got. I don't know what his name is. I forgot the other fast one. They play with two attackers.
Oh, Henry.
No, it begins with M.
No,
He's
let's
got
have
a
a look.
beard. He's got a beard. The comments will always know.
Mbeumo.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
He's really good as
Mbeumo.
well. Yeah, he's good. He runs absolutely everywhere. He was good against Man
Yeah.
U. I feel if you can stop them two, I think you're all right. I generally do think if you can, which I feel like we've got the players to do it. If you stop them two, you're all right. And
Yeah.
Tony, obviously, he's quite good against us because he scored against us and he was a nuisance last time. But I'm ready for this. I really am.
Dave said, like Jeff said earlier, if we can stay in the game, we'll have a chance.
Yeah.
Julian's pointed out our possession players should start. We can't if we can control the game. Then it's a good point because they'd lost Ericsson. United didn't have a balanced midfield that day. That's why they got smashed in the first half. They lost.
And they conceded a couple of really, really poor goals as well. Like the keeper, let one through his fingers, didn't he, at the start?
Wanderlust, thanks for joining us. We handled Brentford 1-0, 4-0, 4-1 in a cup tie where Ericsson wasn't there.
Do you know what though? This is a really good point. Their defenders are really good. Me was a cracking signing, by the way. He's like Tarkowski, isn't he? Yeah, really good player. But and they've got another couple of good defenders as well, centre backs. But they are strong, but not fast. Our attackers are fast.
Lovely to have you, Arthur.
Love you. Our attackers are fast. So if it's our strengths are their weaknesses, so it could be a benefit for us to actually not play with a big centre forward here and actually run at them. What's your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Like I said, I think it's one of those where our speed is going to be a deciding factor. Who starts the game is going to make a big difference because are we going to start with the three up front like we did in the first couple of games? Because, as you've just said, they might be quite big in defence, but they're a bit slow.
I've got to say,
realistically, I don't know whether Rondon is much of a threat to their defenders because they'll just handle him all day. Whereas smaller defenders that are moving and quick, they might actually have more joy.
I'm finished with Rondon. Like I got behind him, and I really got everybody that I know to try and big him up to get behind him. But nothing against Rondon, by the way, he tries his best, but I just feel he's not the answer. So I don't think he'll start. What do you think he'll start?
Rondon.
Or Jan, do you think he'll start? Or Jeff?
Who?
Rondon.
Well, that's what I was. There you go. Charles Stevenson's just going. Expect Rondon and Gordon to start tomorrow. I was going to say that I think that it might be possible that we'll see Gray dropped, McNeil in with Gordon and Rondon, so that McNeil can throw the balls in, Gordon can attack, and Rondon can run across the front line.
Charles has just said sorry, not Rondon. So we've gone and read that out, Charles, and you've put the wrong name in anyway.
Well, I mean, I was on the bench about doing this factoring. I don't think Mopay will start, but I had Gordon, McNeil, and Gray, and I put Rondon / McNeil because I still couldn't decide whether Gray would play.
McNeil, not for me. McNeil doesn't get into me.
McNeil, Gordon, and Gray was the front three in training. There we go.
That's exactly what I was expecting because they're a slow team in defence. And they're quite big as well, and we haven't got enough to be bullying them and pushing them around in defence.
And you've got to,
but we're quick and sharp, and if we can get
5-3-2.
so we can get in between the lines, and use pace and movement to move them out of positions and create spaces.
I was just thinking in my head what someone's just put. Can Mopay play on Saturday? Like, generally, do we know? Can he play?
It's not been announced whether the paperwork's been put in by 12 o'clock, but that's not necessarily for the fans to know. I think it might be a case of we'll find out tomorrow when the team's announced. Do you think? Because he's been at Finch Farm and he's been, he's done his medical.
I hope so.
Right, I do appreciate the comments about Rondon, and people are saying this about starting him for comedy value, Rondon, laughy face, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, excellent. More quality contribution there from Arthur. Love it, mate. Keep it up.
Farting is more lethal than Rondon to ever be.
And but also, but everything Everton said. Oh, hang on.
I'm just potting up stuff just for a giggle while you carry on talking.
Everton said, I'm still not sold on McNeil. Now, we haven't necessarily had that. We haven't had that sort of addition that you'd expect McNeil to make. But I mean, maybe Lampard's covering his ass in the press conference. But having said that, maybe he is just one of those players that needs time to grow into his position in a new team. To learn the kind of tactics and what's expected, because you can't just go like a headless chicken at the game. Otherwise, you may as well, if you're not going to play into the tactics, you may as well play with 10 men rather than 11.
I just read a comment saying try McNeil up front. I watched McNeil in that cup game, and he wasn't getting in the box at all. He wasn't pushing up. He didn't try hard enough for me. And McNeil up front is not the answer.
Mr. Positive's not being positive about him here.
I'm massively behind McNeil, but McNeil is a winger, and we're not playing with wingers. Like Patterson and Mikalenko are the wingers. So until we play a formation to suit McNeil, he doesn't get in my team like tomorrow. Like, are we going to do teams?
Or who do you start instead?
Yes. Okay.
I know exactly who I've got.
Well, we're talking tactics first, but that does lead into teams. So
yeah, I know exactly who I've got.
As that's a point. Judge McNeil when we get DCL back, and Dave as well. Just to touch on this very briefly, because it's an interesting point. Ghana does want to leave PSG, according to reports. PSG are happy to let him go on a free to teams like Porto, but they want money from Everton.
That's crazy that they said they're happy for him to go to two other teams on a free, but Everton they're not. How confusing is that?
Yeah. Richo, can we have a writ round for a shirt for Jeff? Someone asked why you can't spell your name, Jeff, and there's a story in that, but maybe towards the end of it. But yeah, who's fit and available? Well, all the usual suspects. Tom Davies might be fit because he had that niggle in his groin before the start of the Fleetwood game. And I don't know. So, but yeah, do you want? Have you got your team ready, Jeff?
Okay. Let me think about this. So back five unchanged, like that's obvious.
Well, can you run it through us for it? Run it through.
Yeah. Okay. So it's obviously Pickford. Then you've got your back three of Holgate, who's been really good, by the way. Like from the end of last season and the start of this season, I think he's done really well. So your usual back three of Holgate, Cody, Tarkovsky, and then I'm still sticking with Mikalenko. And I still think Patterson. The run out will have done James's legs good during the week. But
do you think there's a place for Coleman back in the team now?
I think realistically he should be on the bench from now on, or sort of rotated in or whatever. But he shouldn't be starting games regular. But I still think, it depends on the situation. So then midfield, this is where it gets difficult because I want to start Onana, and so I would be starting Iwobi and Onana, and then the front three of Gordon, Gray, and McNeil. So that would be me.
Just to just to one of the comments, quick time. I didn't drink the nettle tea yet. I still have got hay fever bad, but
is that Kevin?
Yeah, I'm scared of drinking the nettle tea. I feel like it could poison me, so I haven't tried it yet. That's just an honest answer.
It's one of the best. It's one of it's actually one of the most healthy foods.
Is it
on the planet?
Can you buy nettle tea, or do you have to go and pick it yourself?
You can literally eat nettles, just like you have to do it carefully. But people eat nettles raw.
No way.
Yeah, the way to do it is you use gloves. You use gloves. You roll them up. So that the stamen are on the outside. You roll them up and you chew them and eat them, and they're really, really healthy. But people
Just a
make
quick
tea
one.
out them.
To drag back from the tea drink, Neil said PSG regarding PSG and Ghana, because teams in other leagues think the EPL teams are loaded. It's the same reason why Porto, Benfica, etc. can sign South American players for about half the price we're quoted. Phil says PSG have berated their director of football for not getting shot of Ghana. They've got FFP challenges as well and need to clean the squad out. Peter said McNeil has the talent, but he's too predictable with the cutting in from the right with his left foot and crossing from the left. Neil's also said Ghana's all about energy and motivation. Would he really still be up for it at his age? Well, the fact that he'd walk into our team rather than being sat on the bench at PSG, maybe he's on about playing football. Maybe he's the good type of player.
He's still got it, Ghana guy.
Yeah.
He's still got it. He's definitely still got it. I watched him last season, and he's better than what he was when we had him the first time. He's got more experience, and he's still got the legs. Should we go to my team now, then?
Go for it, Dan. So just to cover that, Jeff, you went for Mikolenko, Cody, Tarkovsky, Holgate, Patterson, Iwobi, Onana, Gordon, McNeil, Gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Dan?
That's a good team, Jeff, by the way. I like it.
Thanks very much. Cheers, mate.
Mine and yours is always normally similar, Jeff, because we think the same thing. But here we go. Mikolenko left. Pickford in goals. Obviously, I always forget that. Pickford is always in my goals, by the way. Pickford in goals.
Yeah.
Mikolenko left wing back.
Yeah.
Tarkowski left centre back. Connor Cody in the middle. Holgate right centre back, and Patterson right wing back. That is it now. That's it for me. That is our combination on the defence, unless we play a 4. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Iwobi as the number 6, because I think he's cracking like centre midfield with Onana. I feel like you've got 2 engines there. Onana is a bit risky. I know people ain't putting him in yet and say he needs time, but it's Onana comes before Davis for me.
Okay.
Interested on your thoughts in the comments. So there it is.
Particularly with Skater Boy having a bit of a niggle and might not be risked.
100%. But there's going to be 2 twists here. So I'd play that as the 2 centre midfielders. And I always say I don't want to play it as 2 centre midfielders. I want to play it as 3.
Right. If
we sign Mopay, I'll play it as 2 centre midfielders, and I'll play Gordon, Mopay, and Gray. That is a good attacking threat. That is Mopay, Gordon, and Gray. If we haven't got Mopay on time, all I'll do then is I'll do Gordon and Gray, and then I'll put Davis in the midfield with Onana and Iwobi to make it a 3, and then just 2 attackers. That's the way I do it. Do you understand that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Apparently, Peter's just said, what about Alan? Is he fit yet? Okay, right.
It'll be interesting to know what Charles has to say on
we
this.
Have fans
I
of other
think
teams.
he's going to be going.
I've just got to say, by the way, Arthur, we have fans of other teams. We're all about banter, but I'm sorry, Ryan's probably not going to like this, but, see ya. Right, sorry, Arthur's gone, everyone. There's just no point. If you're not going to contribute, what's the point? You're just here for a laugh and a troll. Well, go back to your cave, mate. Right, that's people have been saying that Miko's not necessarily a wing back. He doesn't cross halfway or beat anyone. What about? But Peter's just said, what about Alan? Is he fit yet? And Good Jewish Boys said Lampard's had a tricky time tomorrow. Davies, Alan, Gomez, Onana, and Iwobi are all fit. It's interesting, but you run the risk of, if you start introducing players that haven't played and have been out, and then it changes the dynamic. Although they might add a lot more, I don't know, because it does raise the question of, would you then sub Holgate because he didn't play against Fleetwood, obviously having a break, and Mikolenko, would you move him inside, or would you start Vinagre? Ryan made a good point. He posted the team before where he said he'd have Coleman at right centre back and Patterson on the right, which would be interesting considering potentially to that experience against the threat of the speed that although Coleman's a bit older, he's better at reading the game. So rather than having people cut inside when we've got that 5 and then it just ends up with a scrabble, a panic, like we should be holding them back.
to answer that, just my opinion.
Yeah.
The reason Holgate is in the team is because Godfrey isn't in the team, and the reason Godfrey was going to be in the team is for the one thing that Coleman hasn't got. He's fast. Coleman is not fast, and
No.
and if we bring him into a defensive three, we're vulnerable to pace. We're vulnerable to pace, and that's exactly the same reason why, like Mikalenko, even though he's not the best going forward, in this game he's better suited for us because they have pace.
Yeah,
Like
but that's what I'm
Brentford
going to say.
have pace in the
It's a very
side,
good
and
point. But
we're going to
Ryan
have to
said,
sit deep.
Ryan
Sorry.
said Coleman at right centre back gives more flexibility when the team goes forward. He becomes a right back, and we sort of switch to a back four and can offer more going forward than Holgate. Kevin says good idea for the wing backs, maybe shifting them in to be the side.
You know what? That's it's good options, isn't it? On what you're saying, there, it's cracking options. You can do it on Mikalenko with Vinagre on the other side, and you can do it with Coleman and Patterson on the other side. So
but what I think we have to be mindful of is while you're focused on that as an attacking option to go forward, you have to be mindful that to win a game, most of the time you have to avoid conceding and have the ball and be able to control that. So if we're talking from an attacking point of view, that's all well and good, but I don't think we've got that luxury. So shall I drop my team?
There's also something. There's also one other thing to consider as well. Just as a little thing, is that we play on Wednesday, so the gap between the two games is only 4 days, isn't it? So that might affect team selection or something like that, if you know what I mean.
Is that against Leeds?
Leeds on Wednesday night, yeah.
I was just going to say on what you said, Jan, which you make a really good point. If you play Coleman right centre back, you've only got Tarkowski that can head the ball because Holgate's not good at heading. Where if you play Cody and Tarkowski centre back, it makes us better at defending set pieces. I think it's risky to just Tarkowski be the only person that can clear the header. Where you've got Cody, it adds another person. Yanyu was bang on there with your point.
Yeah. So I've got what I was going to say with my team is I was tempted to put Vinagre at left centre back, Tarkowski in the middle, Cody on the right, and have Patterson. But what I've gone for is Obs Pickford in goal, Mikalenko on the left, Patterson. I know I saw that earlier.
I've seen a few.
On the left, Patterson on the right. Now, again, I'm not bad mouthing Holgate, but I've got to say that I really think that it might be Cody, Tarkowski, and Coleman. That's not what I'd pick, in an ideal world. But I'm just going to go it's not a case of what I'd pick being hopeful. I'm trying to be realistic about what we might have seen. And having seen Holgate play, is Coleman? Why would Coleman have played? Is it for his experience because we had a youngster in the back? Oh God, that's why. That's why I underlined it, and I've got it wrong here. I've been arguing the wrong point because I write your teams down and mine. Sorry, we had Coleman play because of Reece Welsh in the back foot. I'm sorry. I've been arguing the wrong point. I can't even read my own notes.
That's okay.
Yeah. Right. No, so I agree with that exact same back five. And funnily enough, I think I've gone for the exact same team as you then in that case, Jeff. Iwobi and Onana, Gordon, McNeil, and Gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was amazing. His head shaking off that.
Yeah.
We're a professional outfit,
Yeah. Look, pages and pages of notes like Clyde Tilsley.
You can't be able to write poems as good as Jan's doing without a big brain, and Jan's brain went everywhere then, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's ADHD.
Bless you.
Bless
so
you.
basically, your team's the same as Jeff's, and you're ganging up on me, but I've got Maupay. If Mopay is an option, does he get in your team or not?
Yes, he starts up front.
And
then we play Gordon and Gray with the option of bringing on McNeil, and if he doesn't make it, then Rondon as a super sub.
Rondo could be all right the last 10
As a what?
minutes.
Sorry. Hang on a minute. Let me just.
It's breaking up. Rondo's super sub. Did you say it's
someone
breaking up?
Rondon and super sub in the same sentence there, and I actually heard that.
I've got 5% now. So are we going to do scores? Am I going to make it through it, or am I going to fade away?
Yanndalf fail. Yanndalf fail.
Look, I own my mistake. Look, if you could see my notes here, I've got like a circle for Jeff, a square for Dan, and like I've done a cross to things to talk about from the last game and what we might have seen. And oh Christ, never mind. It just, yeah.
We'll let you off,
Entertaining.
Well, Jan, we'll let you off with your poems. The fact you say the whole poem without making a mistake, I'll definitely let you off, mate.
All right, thank you.
Right,
All right.
I'm going to do my score because I am going to go. Like, it's on 2%, and I can't believe I made it through this, but I'm happy I did.
Well done.
My score for this game, I know I normally go crazy and you lot always laugh at me.
12-0.
7-0 last time.
Conservative 12-0.
1-0. My score is going to be 3-1 Everton.
Excellent.
And the reason I think that is I think that they probably will score a goal, but even though we've got no attackers, I don't know why I just feel confident. Like you said, Jeff, I just feel like we still our attacking midfielders can hurt them. I really do.
Mate, your positive vibes could power a small country.
That's what you need. Positivity.
Someone mentioned before, I'll try and find the comment, brilliant for Holgate's development too, he'll come on a bomb this season. Someone talked about, I'll try and find the comment about they have an argument with their dad whether they think Holgate's good enough. There we go, Kenny.
Yeah, I think that.
Me and my dad argue over Holgate. He rates him, but I say a lawyer defends better. There's always a penalty or a booking in him.
Is he deliberately putting Hellgate because he gives him hell? Like,
I don't know.
Is that the catchline on that? Because that's quite clever if it was.
I think Holgate has always been a better defender.
He agrees with me.
He's got a strong character alongside him. And I think that having somebody like Cody next to him, because in the 3 system, Cody will be the one directly next to Holgate. He's vocal, he's a leader, and he will lead him through the games. I think that's the thing is it's the combination of the 3 of them. They bring attributes, but also I think the leadership and the vocality as well, because if you're next to Michael Keane, you don't say much during a match, then you get lost. Whereas if you've got Cody alongside you, barking in your ear all day, you're never losing. You're not losing focus.
You need to be here. Watch that man. Hold the line. Push up forward. It's the experience of just
talking him through the games. Yeah, and I think that should get him through all of the games and keep his head in the game so he's not panicking and flapping about.
Some names here, I'm not going to say them out loud, but
I can't see them.
2-0, which Amanda has gone for 2-0. You want Kevin? If we win with that score, I'm sure Dan will invite you onto a space for a bit of quizzing or something.
I'll drink my nettle tea live, Kevin, if we win that score.
Nice.
To be fair, as Jeff pointed out, should we take the Forest 3 million loan fee for Keane? I think we need him at the moment for cover, considering Godfrey's.
I said different. I said that we're struggling to sell him. If you go and loan him out, and I think if you loan him out, it'll be good. I do think.
Who's that?
Keane. I think if you loan Keane out to Forest need a centre back. He'll have a cracking season, and his value, Forest will then want to buy him. Other teams, West Ham will come back interested, and you'll probably get about 20 million for him. Where if you leave him at Everton and he can't get in, his value goes down and down and down, and he looks like he's not good enough. So I think it'd be good to loan him, advertise himself.
If we get another injury, then what do we do?
We've just said that Coleman could play right centre back. Mikalenko can play left centre back. We've got Cody. We've got Tal.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, to be honest, I'd sell him to the first bid without a moment's hesitation and play Reece Welsh as a centre back cover if we need him. But
all right, fellas. Right, yeah. I've had a few people noticing in there requesting a poem. So
okay.
Sorry, what did you say? No, I've just got to mention that I do have it here. It's the one I've dropped on Twitter the other day. I've had a lot going on personal-wise, so I've done quite a few. I've done pretty much every game since since Chelsea last time. But, you know, I can finish on a poem if you want, guys.
I think that's the closing part of the show,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I'm just letting people know. Thus spake Mike is apparently very excited over Mopay. Oh, Dan's gone. Some people are saying we're going to struggle. You know, Ian's gone for 0-1 to Brentford. Dave is equally, I wouldn't say negative. He might see it as being realistic. Can't see us beating them. I hope it proves us wrong, but they'll beat us 2-0. Right, hang on. I can't come up with a poem that quickly.
Yes, good for the immune system as well. You're right.
Yeah.
Who's this Moupay? Yeah, I think he was in Fraggle Rock. I don't know. Mopay.
Yeah, no, Ian, that's what I said. Ian Clark, I said, you know, you reckon Brentford are going to win it, beat us, and that's why I put up Dave's comment of 2-0 to Brentford afterwards. Kenny seems to think it might be 4-0, hopefully, for his 44th birthday. I'd suggest that might be 4-4 then. So yeah, what was your score, Jeff? Sorry.
Oh God. Do I have to try and be positive for the audience, or just be realistic? I think until we get like the players that we get in, I think we're still going to struggle. So, like, I'll take a 1-1 draw right now, and consider that a decent result. But I don't feel massively positive because. Yeah. Okay. No. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go for it, and I'll go for a 2-1 win Everton.
Oh, that's what I've gone for.
I'll regret that later, but you know, come at me. It's fine.
I'm trying to write a really quick poem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll read some. While you do that, I'll read some of these comments out.
Yeah, go for it.
So Tarkowski and Cody are both slow. That's why Gordon, and that's why Holgate. To me, it's we need some pace in the side. They are a bit slow. They're not like cart horses, but that's why we want somebody who's a little bit quicker in the side to give us some cover in pace. Oh, you're going to Brentford tomorrow? Nice one. Did you say Coleman plays centre? Yeah, he plays centre back for Ireland. Yeah, but Ireland are rubbish, so it's a big difference between playing centre back for Ireland and playing centre back in the Premier League. Just in my opinion, you know, it's good point, Jeff. Oh, I wish I knew what that point was, so I could give myself a pat on the back for saying something really smart. Where's Ryan? I think he's basically running a disco somewhere, probably. Yeah, I think he's entertaining somewhere. Leeds home Tuesday. I thought it was Wednesday. I thought the Leeds game was Wednesday. Not sure. Defense for getting Cody in. I don't think we have spoiled the defense with getting Cody in. No. I think it's one of those situations where we're bringing in pieces and the whole thing isn't finished. And once everything is finished, the pieces will fit so much better. But whilst we're still in the rebuilding process, there's still going to be issues there. So I think we do the best that we can, kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Quick
I'm really looking forward to this one.
Terrible.
Yeah, Welsh did do well.
Busy, but Jeff's here to play. Tomorrow's the match, but the banter's today. I'm sorry there's very little to say, but Jesus, a signing. Here's Neil Mopay. If I'm watching the game, might host a reaction, but Dan's back's problematic and he's off to get traction. So you're all stuck here with Yanndalf and Jeff a reprieve. But if we didn't make you laugh, I'd worry you'd leave. That's it.
Nice, good effort.
Yeah.
I've got an iconic laugh, apparently. Thanks very much.
Did you like the Fresh Prince reference there? Jizzy Jeff, Jazzy Jeff, whatever it was.
Jazzy Jeff. Don't say that other one. Jazzy Jeff. We'll take that. Yeah. 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 Dan. If the pizza. That's a brilliant one. I like that.
I've gone
pizza
for a
is needed
2-1.
5 minutes. Do I get it for free?
I've got to say thank you guys for sticking around. You know, we've talked about tactics to sort of an extent, but most of it has been racking our brains about, you know, where are the goals going to come from, and is Mopay going to play, which is still an unknown. So we're throwing this team out here, and it could be, you never know, that it could be that Mopay's at Finch Farm, he's fired and he's ready to go, and we're going to see Iwobi out on the wing.
He was
and
involved
Gordon
in training.
And Mopay and,
So if he was involved in training, you would think that, like, because his medical was this morning, and paperwork, as long as you put the deal sheet in, paperwork can be done over the course of the day. So, like, I'm assuming that he's going to be involved at some point today. I don't know whether he'll start. But yeah, so the E is nowhere near an O on a keyboard. That's amazing. Thanks very much for that. I'm just wanted to read some of these before we go. I just want to catch up on some of the messages.
No, there's been messages like,
I want a prize if we win with that score. Nice.
I've just
one.
got to say, right. On that note, are you going to be doing the reaction tomorrow?
Depends if we win or not. I might have a weekend off if it all goes mental, but no. It depends on who's available. I don't want to hog the airways. Other people might want the turn, but if there's no one else available, because I don't know who's going the match.
Right. So I've got to say, I'm sorry for making football political, but it seems to be a little bit. So on this note, I will, thank you for joining us, guys. Like, subscribe, share. I noticed that. Kenny said he was arguing at halftime and Pickford said he didn't trust him, which caused a bit of a fight. So, Yeah. But on that note, I did a poem. I dropped it on Twitter the other day about the death of football, which I think we run full foul of, because ultimately with financial fair play, although it aims to be fair, all it does is preserve the status quo, where it requires a great deal of luck or some form of investment where somebody's willing to play magical accountancy, where it's just those that are in that position where they get the income from the TV money, but not just that Europe championship, finishing higher in the league. That's where the income comes from. And then they can't go out and spend. Teams below can't go out, even if they've got a rich owner or they've got some form of income or benefactor that's then going, okay, well, I want to level the playing field. No, it doesn't work like that. It's those that have the most money to spend can therefore spend the most money. And it's
the one thing I'm going to slightly disagree with you here.
Yeah.
I think 10 years ago, I would say I agree with you. But now, I think that the clubs are wealthy enough that everyone in this Premier League can afford a decent standard of players. And they all earn a decent amount of net revenue. So you can afford a decent squad.
But there's a big difference in revenue streams
There is a big difference, but if you look at how the revenue has been used, and you look at Man United are the richest club in the world, but
look at what Spurs
they're not
get.
They're not. I know, but they're not a well-run side, and that doesn't mean they're going to win anything. And I think there's enough revenue in the Premier League now that a well-run team can beat a slightly wealthier team, because it's like someone who's worth 100 billion in a contest with someone who's worth 150 billion. If you're smart with how you do it, and you've got you employ the right people, you can outperform your level. And so you look at someone like Graham Potter. I don't know what their budget is, but they outperform their budget significantly. So I think that there is an opportunity for any team that is well run to elevate themselves beyond what should be their considered level. And
But
also,
it becomes a
there's-
supply and demand thing, though, doesn't it? When you have a player in Man City or Liverpool or Chelsea, when they're at that standard, and if they lose, for instance, a star midfielder, if somebody comes in to buy them, they're not just paying for the value of the player; they're paying for the value that that player adds to the team in guaranteeing European or vying for title-winning things. So, and also the income that they get from that allows them to immediately go out and replace them. Whereas we get bent over a barrel for Richarlison. If Richarlison was the age he was at and was performing in the team he was at in Man City, 100 million.
yes, but like I said, the one difference now is that every club is owned by a billionaire. They're all owned by billionaires.
Yeah, we're not one to talk, really, are we?
Yeah, so this whole thing about it's not fair that it's so weighted in the favor of the big clubs. I think every club, if they are well run, can gate crash, but it's about getting the club well run, and that's the thing is, we could have gate crashed the top four if we'd spent our money wisely and had the right manager, but we didn't, so we messed up. But then you look at a team, let's say, for example, I don't want to, the horse punchers.
Yeah.
They've got the money. Now, you could say that their buy-in has been much better than ours because they targeted specific needs. They didn't go out and try and buy the biggest toy in the shop. They bought specific players for specific reasons, and they're trying to build slowly. And once they get to that point, they can easily gate crash the party. If you can get 50,000 people in a stadium, and you can finish in the European places, you can earn enough money to finance your club, and then you can compete. And that's the thing is, there's a lot of good players. And our league is infinitely richer than the rest of Europe, so we can all afford good players. It's just about getting the job done properly.
I will just say there, several people have been asking about, are we going to do a transfer deadline day stream? I'd love to do that. But yeah, that's going to touch in. I'd love to do that. It will be announced by Follow Everton whether we will be doing it and who will be on there. But Tolly Toffeeman said small clubs financially might win a one-off, Blackburn, Leicester. But yeah, this is it's about depth. The richer the club, the depth there is for a long. It's about the ability to then compete and maintain that. And on that note, I'm going to finish it with this poem, which is a reflection of my views, not necessarily, clearly not Jeff, not the channel or Ryan or Dan or anything like that. But my issue is that you get the big clubs who come in, hoover up the talent. Possibly. Might be room for a video tomorrow. Please. You know what? I'm going to have
Sorry. I was just literally scrolling and I just saw that. And if we're in invite talks for him, please God, that would be an amazing sign-in.
Well, there's been things from days ago. There's nothing from today. It's more like the rumours again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So with that in mind, that'll sort of wrap it up. I've gone for 2-1. You've gone for 2-1. Dan has gone for 3-1, hasn't he?
7-0 probably.
No, Dan went 3-1. You and I went 2-1.
Yeah, you went 3-1.
Being optimistic. But on that note, thanks for joining us, everyone. And I'll sign it off with my angry death of football. And you're going to stay to have a listen, Jeff, because I think Jeff just likes watching me get wound up. We're all getting tired of this protracted saga. The languishing limbo's got us turning to the lager. Where's an attacker or Idrissa Gana Gay? How, besides errors, can we put the goals away? Was there any truth to rumours of Caduce? Because in the final third, we're as solid as chocolate mousse. Reports that Gordon's shipping out to bunk up with the chavs makes me fear we're have-nots in a sea of haves who hoover up the talent and suck the passions dry. A moneyed stage for Sky TV where potential goes to die. So sign a shiny contract and collect your 100 grand, turn your back on all our love. Oh well, you'll grow your brand until the next one comes along, then you're cast out in the cold. You could have stayed and heard us sing your name till we grow old. There's not too many legends made, they're seldom seen today, cut down before they've reached their prime thanks to financial fair play. A nonsense contradictory phrase, and most fans seem to know it's corporate greed in practice to preserve the status quo. Who cares for beauty in the game or blood money on your hands? It's just become a spectacle. It's not about the fans. Only 2 teams in 30 years have broken rank and won, then slid back down to nothing. So tell us, where's the fun? I'm getting sick and tired of this. Don't you feel the same? When FIFA investigates itself just to clear its name, there'll be no sweeping inquest into referees, no revelation bringing the corrupt down to their knees. They'll target clubs with sanctions for nationality of owner, but dig their heels and stay their hands for clubs like Barcelona. They're a brand too big to lose, if you get the gist. Well, announcing a World Cup host with a new Rolex on their wrist. It's not a game or gamble. This casino that we're in has vested interests in a few, and the house will always win. So prove you love the football, the club, the badge, the shirt. Stay for love, for loyalty. Hang on through the hurt.
You've definitely got some feeling behind that, haven't you, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have strong opinions on that, and I don't necessarily disagree with anything you've said. I just like, if I abandon hope, then what's the point? If you know what I mean. Like, I want us to win trophies and be successful and be a team that wins the league and stuff like that. And if I kind of allowed myself to fully believe that it's a closed shop and we're never allowed in, I wouldn't want to go anymore.
It's absurd, isn't it? It's become...
I wouldn't want to go anymore, because what would be the point?
On that note, well...
So, I'll stay positive, and we're going to win the league soon.
Wanderlust thing. It's like, I once dated a girl years ago who referred to like football. It's like, did they put the goal in the goal hole? Here's Wanderlust poem. Why can't we can't use 3 on the wing? Get someone to put the thing in the other thing. Yeah, agree.
Yeah, nice. Right, and on that note,
love you.
Thanks
all.
everyone for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. I'm pretty sure there'll be. Please do join us for tomorrow for a match reaction. Hopefully, we'll be happy and positive and talking about what an impact and what a turning, what a corner we've turned with the signings and everything. So, from me, from Jeff, from everyone at Follow Everton, thanks for joining. Like, subscribe, share. Join us, send your comments, all that. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you all later.
See you later.
Up the toffees.
Up the fucking toffees.